looking fabulous, and I have the t-shirt and the new jacket, the new
nice.
Yes, very nice. We're very much enjoying them. The team looks absolutely fabulous. Also playing really well as well, leading 1-0 against Bayern Munich at half-time in our second pre-season friendly, of course, out in Japan at the National Stadium. Paul, what stood out for you in that first 45 minutes?
I think from City's point of view, Rico Lewis.
Yeah,
I thought he was absolutely fantastic, and we've seen him sort of being a right back moving into midfield, but not really starting in midfield often. He really advanced, making some, I think Andy said in commentary, really intelligent runs. We all know he's such a good player, but he said it before himself, before the game. He wants to step up to the next level, try different things, and the confidence of him here to take that ball, getting it off the back four. These runs here, 3 or 4 times he's done it now. Lima a few times he's just ran off him, which is a bit lazy. But he's picking his times to make the runs. He's timing the runs well, and more often than not, he's got quality at the end of it.
Steve, talk to me about how intelligent and what an adaptable player he must be to have played in a defensive role for most of last season, of course, a defensive role that does push into midfield, but today to be starting in midfield, to have that versatility.
Well, obviously I haven't seen any of Pep's training sessions and stuff like that, but you can imagine the manager will be getting players like him playing in various positions to get an understanding of every position. Now I think, for me, I think Sane had actually started off quite well for Bayern Munich, but ultimately, for me, the best player on the park, the first half, has been him. Has been Rico Lewis. He's been absolutely outstanding. As I said, he's not tracked there, so it is a little bit lazy, but at least he has the intelligence, but he does really well, shows good strength, pulls it back. Alvarez should score. Obviously, it's in the back of the net there, but he's done that 2 or 3 times, and there's not only that. Even when sometimes City back 4 or back 3 have got the ball, he's making those intelligent runs. He's making sure he gets some space so he can actually get the ball, receive the ball. Even if it's in a tight area, he's still managed to come out with it and actually try and set up play. So for me, absolutely brilliant from him in the first half.
Shaun, what's his best position, or is his best position the fact that he can play multiple positions?
I think multiple positions, because we're really seeing the intelligence of this kid there. As you guys are saying, his ability to see the space but not go in it too early, but go and occupy that space at the right time, so that the lazy defender sort of passing on thinking you take him, and at that fraction of a second it's too late. He's already 2-3 yards, where we're looking at it and saying it's lazy from the opposition, but he's also leaving that space thinking, I want to go in there. Once that player, Bernardo, I think it was, gets his head up, he's now darting into that space. That fraction of a second is too late for the defender to react. He's in there. He's just showed a real next level of his game, playing slightly higher, the way he's, again, receiving the ball and going in these areas. Really clever player.
And the goal, a real delight, the goal. I'm sure you'll all agree, the fact that it was Academy graduate Rico Lewis, Academy graduate James McAtee, and of course Julian Alvarez, who's still so young on that pitch as well. So here is the goal again, if you haven't already seen it. So Rico Lewis, as mentioned, is heavily involved there. He goes to pass it to Julian Alvarez, and it's James McAtee who is the first one to pounce. His first senior goal for Manchester City. What a delight, Paul.
Yeah, fantastic for him, coming through the academy. Big thing for him actually going on the tour. There's only really Rico's part of the first team squad, him and Oscar Bob in the squad that have been progressed from the academy for the tour, and he'll be pleased with that, because I'm a huge fan of James McAtee even before he went to Sheffield United, but there was a couple of times in the first half he was a little bit sloppy, giving the ball away, which led us in the counter, and people might say that's a tap-in, but they're the best ones got, aren't they?
They are.
They all count.
They all count. They're the best ones, the ones you like there. But you're absolutely right, in terms of James McAtee. And I think with this period, this is what Pep will get him back, and why he's probably been on to learn. Probably at Sheffield United, the changer of losing the ball was a bit more. And Pep will say, we don't give the ball away at all. And when we do, can we have that reaction? So it's about pre-season, and I think what we're seeing is a period of the game where it's fitness levels, because you lost the ball, you see a reaction, but it's not that whole sort of 60 metres back. It's sort of 15 metres, and you're like, I need some help here. Because we've all been there as players. Early part of pre-season, you get to the later stages of the half, and you're sort of blowing.
It's a little bit rusty, isn't it, more than anything else?
A little, yeah.
But I think for McAtee, it's one of them ones where when he's been at Sheffield United, without being disrespectful for Sheffield United at all, he's probably one of the best technically there. And he's more than comfortable. I think even himself in this game, he's thinking, wow, it's a big step. And you can tell the difference between, if you look at Rico Lewis, who's been in and around the first team all last season, the levels he's at now to where probably James is. I mean, listen, he's done very, very well, don't get me wrong, but I think he realises that there's a big step here. And obviously, if he can get to that step, then what a fabulous player he's going to be. But for him to get the goal is absolutely brilliant for him. He's done his confidence, absolute power of good.
There's a really wonderful piece, by the way, on the Manchester City website, a Loan Watch piece that analyses James McAtee's time at Sheffield United last season. Really, really fascinating read. And he himself talks about how he developed and how he found his time at Sheffield United. Some of the really interesting things that I thought that he said, Paul, in particular, was that it was so different to play for Sheffield United than it was when he played for the under-23s. He sort of found everything, you know, much more difficult and much more competitive. He also talks about how he struggled at the start, but obviously by the end of the season, we know he was a key player in the fact that they got promotion. So the loan move for him is classed as successful for Sheffield United, successful for us, successful for him.
Fantastic all round, and the ones that will benefit the most is James McAtee. You know, as you said there, he did struggle a little bit. The Championship's a tough league. You know, it's a lot more physical than academy football. It's a lot quicker. And you know, James is used to getting time in the ball. And Steve said, you know, he's probably the best technical player at Sheffield United, but it's the other side of the game that you have to work on. And having that season there, really successful season, the Sheffield United fans loved him. You know, they knew he struggled a little bit at the start, but they stayed with him because they could see the quality he's got, and he was one of the main reasons he got promoted. So the experience he's had from going out and playing men's football, you know, at a top level, will set him in such good stead going forward.
He got 8 goals since Boxing Day for Sheffield United, and those 8 goals really were instrumental in their march to promotion. He's got his first goal for Manchester City today. We've talked about Rico Lewis already, but I want to have a little look at a chance that a chance that Manchester City had towards the end of the first half. Bayern Munich were knocking the ball around the back, and if we're saying that, you know, this is a chance to improve fitness, well, Rico Lewis is looking sharp for me already, because, well, not even him, the three of them were ready to pounce, Steve.
They were, yeah. I mean, I think Andy had sort of said in the commentary as well, the goalkeeper's obviously, I mean, he should just clear his lines. He doesn't. I don't know what he was trying to do, and then he's trying to get it out into touch. Rico Lewis is on it in a flash, and he actually nearly, you just see here, he just gets into the defender. He's trying to pass it to Bernardo, I think, Bernardo Silva. Just the defender actually does quite well. But as I said, sometimes in pre-season games, you know, you do tire a little bit quickly, but therefore you might just try something which normally you wouldn't try, and you're getting caught out because somebody's maybe just reacting a little bit quicker. It's just one of them things. It's a pre-season game. Listen, I've said there's been times I've had pre-seasons and I've been flying and I haven't started the season very well, and vice versa. It's all about just timing it right. So at the start of the season, you're on that good run. But at the moment, listen, as we've spoke about, there's been some really good performances. You look at Kovacic, for instance, looks nice and solid in there, looks comfortable. Yes, of course, from every player, there's the odd ball that goes astray, but that happens in pre-season. Not as much in the season, although balls do go astray, but it's just all about getting your fitness, getting your sharpness, and can you just time it right so once the season starts, you're flying.
I don't want to get ahead of myself, Shaun, but I feel like I forget that this is Kovacic's second game, his second 45 minutes. He already looks settled in that midfield.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised. Again, we spoke about, you know, his quality and what he has, and being with other world-class players, he just settles in there. He's neat, he's tidy. You know, you look at the game and you think, you know, I think I recall him perhaps misplacing one pass. And he'll get a better understanding with the players, get more comfortable, because he'll still have some little nerves about these opening games. But we see his quality, so this is why it looks as though he's been here for a while. But there'll be more to come from him. But he's absolutely quality.
So it's 1-0 to Manchester City at half-time. A very competitive first 45 minutes. Bayern Munich's best chance probably coming from a free kick from, of course, former City player Leroy Sané. It hits the bar. It rattled it. We had Bernardo Silva in the draft excluder position there that I know you love so much, Shaun.
Yes.
We didn't need him. Leroy Sané went high and did you gulp for a moment, Paul?
I gulped as soon as he picked up the ball. I mean, how many times in a Man City shot have we seen him putting the ball down in that positions and sticking it in the top corner? And Ederson would have seen him do that as well. And I think if it'd been a little bit lower, I don't think Ederson was getting anywhere near it. But Sané, look, we love him here. He's a top player. He's been their biggest threat in the first half. A lot of the times when Bayern have had their chances, it's been on the turnover, us giving the ball away, and they're so quick. When you've got Gnabry, Kingsley Coman and Leroy Sané going, they must be one of the quickest front threes in European football.
Absolutely.
So they are.
A few of their other chances now, Paul. So example of what you were saying.
Yeah, it's the turnover of the ball, and they're so quick in the counter attack. We know what Sané is like, but a lot of these chances have came from. I think it was, I spoke about McAtee before, but Alvarez not holding the ball, and as soon as they turn over, they're just rapid going forward. Nathan Ake's done fantastic there to try and hold Sané up, but this did happen 3 or 4 times, so we've just got to be a little bit careful when we do lose the ball in the turnover, because they've got some real quality and pace going forward.
I think that obviously the thing that we'd seen is Nathan Ake came off, but on 2 or 3 occasions when they were breaking down that right hand side, it's Nathan Ake has to do the 50-60 yard sprints back, and I think early in pre-season, early part of the game, it's not something you want to do. So it's kind of, in a way, it's not really surprising. He's had maybe a little kind of nick in his calf area, but when when Bayern Munich were winning the ball, they were breaking at pace. I mean, I think he should possibly score there. I think he's just got to get something on it. But yeah, they did look dangerous and they did look quick on that counter attack. But it was all as Dickie has said and Andy Morrison said in commentary, it's just sometimes just having that ball retention, not giving it away cheaply, because when they were winning the ball off the City players, they were breaking with pace and purpose.
So Ederson's first pre-season friendly, of course, Stefan Ortega played in the full game against Yokohama, and Ederson is certainly getting an opportunity to get some practice in today. Manchester City made 10 changes at half-time for the game against Yokohama. We already know that Bayern Munich players are out warming up, so we are expecting them to make quite a few changes. Will we make 10 changes again today? We can see there that Haaland is definitely coming on. I'm sure the crowd are going to absolutely love that. There's a few other players in the background there you can see coming on. We'll let you know as soon as we know. If we don't know, Alistair Mann will tell you straight away who the changes are. Is that João Cancelo? I can see that's Oscar Bob for definite, who had a great 45 minutes in the second half against Yokohama. I'm sure he's very excited to be able to show what he can do again. Phil Foden also we can see coming on the pitch. Do you know what? We'll go over to our wonderful commentary team now. They'll give you a full rundown in just a minute of all the changes for both teams. We'll be back here in the studio with Shaun Goater, Steve Howey and Paul Dickov at full time, where hopefully we'll be analysing some more Manchester City goals and a second pre-season victory. Right, Ali, over to you.
Thanks, Natalie. I'll do my best to keep you up with the number of changes that the Blues have made, but there is no fourth officials board, so all I can do is look round the pitch and tell you who I can see has come on. João Cancelo, Phil Foden, Erling Haaland, they're definitely on the pitch. Oscar